The Park Builder game was a better sequel to Fallen Kingdom than this movie ever will be. And this is a campaign where one of the main plot points is the characters need to build a fence. Nonetheless, I still enjoyed this movie. Hey y'all. Despite how bad this movie might be, I actually kind of enjoyed it a little more than I probably should have. I think that part of it is because my expectations going into it were really low. Like, the bar for this movie, to me personally, was really, really low. That I think all the movie had to do was it just had to jump over the bar, and I would consider it a good movie. Really, Jurassic World Dominion had a lot of stuff going against it, I feel. Like, for instance, Fallen Kingdom was not a very good movie. I think the general consensus is that Fallen Kingdom didn't make a lot of sense. It rewrote a lot of what we know of Jurassic Park, the Jurassic Park franchise to be, and it was overall just not a very well received thing. On top of that, Dominion also kind of had that stench of desperation that the only comparison I can think of is The Rise of Skywalker had. It's the third, like The Rise of Skywalker, it is the third movie in a trilogy that is lukewarmly, I'm gonna go with that, lukewarmly received. They really wanted to have this big, huge finale that everyone was gonna go see, and the only way they could think to do that was to bring back a legacy character. However, I actually think that this movie handled the legacy characters way better than Rise of Skywalker did with Palpatine. It's not a big bar to cross. The thing is that now that a lot bigger studios are aware that they can make a lot of money off of throwing nostalgia into their movies, their like big franchise movies, it's gonna happen. Like, there's no stopping movies with nostalgia bait being made. Like, it's gonna happen. However, I think in the case of this movie and No Way Home and Spider-Man No Way Home, those two, I think, have proven that there is a way to do this nostalgia stuff acceptably, in my opinion. There's a lot of callbacks to the original Jurassic Park. However, unlike a lot of other movies that are using nostalgia to get you into the theater and watch their stuff, I never felt like the movie ever stopped to, like, I guess, quote unquote, insert the laugh track. You know what I mean? Where it's like, they make a reference and a callback, and then they kind of like pause for a little bit, and like the character just kind of react to what just happened, and it's really just meant to be like, the audience is supposed to be like, have a chance to be like, oh, I remember that. That was awesome. I can't really criticize it for that, because like I said, these nostalgia bait movies are going to be made now. Like, ever since they figured out with like the Terminator remakes and the Avengers Endgame, now that studios are aware that they can make a lot of money by just throwing in nostalgia, these movies are going to be made. But I do think that there is a right way to do it, and I think that this movie did well in that regard. Now, if we're going to look at it as a movie, this movie doesn't make a lot of sense. One of the scenes I keep going back to is there's a pilot, and then there's Owen, and then there's Claire. They are flying into the base of the bad guy. in order to ensure that at least some of them survive the plane crashing down from the pterosaurs attacking the plane, they eject Claire so that she can land in the forest and go on foot, and then the pilot and Owen crash land into the base. And then they show Claire in the forest and she sees where the plane crashed and it's like, okay, that's where she's gotta go. But then the pilot and Owen go back into the forest to find Claire before they go into the base to complete their objective. So I'm like, so what was the point of ejecting Claire if the end goal was for all three of you to get to the base? Like, it's stuff like that it's like, you think about it and it's like, wait a minute. For that, I'm just gonna say that this movie is basically the perfect turn your brain off movie. If you turn your brain off and you don't think about what's going on too much, I think you'll enjoy it quite a bit. I did enjoy myself for more of the movie, for most of the movie. I'm gonna categorize this movie, for me personally, as a guilty pleasure movie. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. My guilty pleasure movies go into the 4 out of 10 category. I know it is so bad, but I will honestly probably rewatch this movie again. And I guess maybe I'm also partially biased just because Jurassic Park is the original Jurassic Park is one of my personal all-time favorite movies. Like, it's easily in my top 3 movies that I've ever seen. So maybe I'm biased in that regard as well, but I can't help it. This movie is fun. I will, however, also be having another discussion about Jurassic World Dominion with the Cinema Romantic and my friend Erik. We're going to discuss this movie as well as how we feel about the Jurassic Park franchise as a whole. So be on the lookout for that. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time, probably with a review of Kenobi. I'm really sorry for doing the finger guns. I don't know why I did that.